She's going through heat. I would love to just crawl inside of V.E. Schwab's mind. And her mate is the alpha. I hear glands and heat one more time. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Bookmas. This is the first Bookmas video you're seeing of mine. Once you're done watching this reading vlog, go catch up on the rest of Bookmas because I'll be posting for the first 12 days of December. But obviously today's video is a reading vlog, and this is just going to be a cozy mood reading vlog. I'm gonna be reading over the next few days, just see what I decide to pick up. I've been reading a lot of hefty fantasy books recently, and so I'm kind of in the mood for just some fun reads, I guess. I'll be mood reading for probably like 3-4 days together, maybe. I do have a little bit of a TBR. Just a little bit. It's a loose TBR. You have 2 books from my physical TBR that I'm kind of looking at right now. I also have a couple audiobooks on Libby. I'm currently reading a book on my Kindle as well. So we have a lot of options out here. Starting off with the 2 books I own physically that I might be in the mood for. First, we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. We also have The Reappearance of Rachel Price. This is literally under 350 pages, I believe. This is 340 pages. And like I said, I've been reading some thick fantasy books, and so I feel like this would be perfect. This is still a fantasy, which is my favorite genre, and so I obviously am still in the mood for fantasy. I'm just not in the mood for something that's going to hurt my brain, I guess. So I feel like I will definitely be getting to Vicious because I've been really wanting to pick it up. And then as for The Reappearance of Rachel Price, obviously this is just a fun YA mystery thriller. Is it a thriller or is it just a mystery? I'm unsure, but I'm not really a mystery or thriller reader literally at all. I read The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I didn't read the trilogy. I read the first 2 books in The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then I also read The Naturals, and I really like The Naturals. So I think I just like a good YA mystery. So this is also an option. This is almost 400 pages though. If I don't get to it in this video, I think I might get to it during a different video where I will need some easy books because I would like to be successful in the challenge that I'm planning on doing. Anyway, so those are the 2 books I own physically that I might be getting to. And then I'm also currently in the middle of Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I have been reading this book for going on like 3 weeks now. I have not been actively reading this book. I started reading it at the airport when I was leaving for the UK. I did not pick it up at all in the UK. And then when I got back, I read like maybe 15 pages. And so I think I might be like 80 pages in. I'm unsure, but I'm not too far into it, but I would like to finish that because I'm just in the mood for a fun paranormal romance. I'm also just in the mood for Ali Hazelwood. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of the Thursday Murder Club, and that I will be listening to on and off throughout this week probably, so I'm hoping to finish the audiobook with you guys. So that's my loose TBR for this video. It's just gonna be a fun, chill reading vlog, and I am so excited because my brain is absolutely fried from some of the fantasy books I've been reading. So I'm very excited for this reading vlog. That's enough yapping. Let's get to reading. He'd just broken out of jail, she'd just been shot, a crossing of fates, or so it seemed. In fact, Sydney was the only reason Victor was beginning to believe in fate at all. Is this gonna be like a found family father-daughter duo type of situation? Because I don't think my heart will be able to take it if that's the case. This morning I did listen to the audiobook of Vicious on my walk. I was listening to the Thursday Murder Club, I think is what it's called, but I just wasn't really too into it. There's kind of like a lot of characters. There's just a lot going on. I'm literally only like 30 minutes into it and I was just so confused. I checked Libby for Vicious and the audiobook was ready to borrow, so I decided to listen to that on my walk. And so I am now on page 78, and so far I am liking the book. I'm not super invested just yet. I did just make banana bread and it is currently in the oven, so I want to read until my banana bread is ready. So we're gonna do a bit of like a 30-minute reading sprint, I guess. On page 78, we shall see how much more I get read. Hopefully the further I get into it, the more I get into the story, I guess. I'll talk more about what the book is about once I have like a exact grasping, because right now it's not, we're still getting into the thick of it. Like it's still kind of explaining the plot of the book, like it's explaining the backstory, which I'll explain that in a little bit. I'm gonna sit and read for about 30 minutes. To take the banana bread out, but I am now on page 104. I'll talk to you guys about the book a little bit later, but so far I am now really liking it. I continued reading for like 2 more chapters as the bread's cooling down. Angie! Holy shit. Why did I not expect that? That's insane. So in this world, there are these things called extraordinaries, or EOs. And basically, it is people who have gone through some sort of traumatic event, did die, and then got resuscitated. And whenever they come back, they have some sort of magical ability. We have Eli and Victor, who are at a university. And this book jumps back and forth between 10 years ago, which was when they were at university, and we have present day. And for one of their classes, they have to come up with a thesis. Basically, they both joined together. They're best friends at this university. They're roommates, but they're in the same class together, and they decide to do this thesis together where they are basically trying to prove that EOs exist, because right now they are just kind of covered up, I guess you could say. This thesis that they're doing, they're trying to prove that EOs exist by becoming an EO themselves. And so that's kind of the premise of the book, I guess you could say. Like I said, to become an EO, you have to go through something very painful, very traumatic. And so they go through that themselves, and that kind of then creates a trickle effect of a bunch of other issues to present day. Now, 10 years later, they are enemies, I guess you could say. That's pretty much the premise of the story, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. And also in Victor's present timeline, there is also this little girl named Sydney, and he saves Sydney from this traumatic thing that happens to her. He has kind of taken her under his wing in a sense, but he's just kind of keeping her safe, I guess you could say, while also trying to find his arch nemesis at the same time, because he just got out of prison. I am on page 129 and I am on chapter 29. These chapters are so short. One thing I appreciate about V.E. Schwab, she loves a short chapter. She really does.
Maybe she didn't notice her new boyfriend was pointing a gun at her little sister. I want you to know, said Eli, fingers flexing on the gun, that it is my grim task to do this. It goes against nature, against God. And this, he said.
Quick reading update. It is now the next day, obviously, but I am now on part 2. I am on chapter 7. We just got Eli's point of view for the last, I think, 4 chapters back in Victor's point of view. And when I tell you this story took a turn that I did not expect, the characters kind of singular took a turn that I did not expect. The story is going in a completely different direction from what I had anticipated, I guess. We have pretty much a serial killer on our hands right now. This plotline is just so fascinating, and I would love to just crawl inside of V.E. Schwab's mind just for like an hour or two just to see the magic work up there. So not only am I just enjoying the story in general, but I'm also just fascinated by the way that her brain works. And so that is making me like this book even more and making me love her as an author even more. I honestly feel like V.E. Schwab might be one of my newly discovered favorite authors. She's not like up there for my favorite authors, but I think she might be my favorite newly discovered. I feel like Brandon Sanderson might be at the top, possibly. Like, I don't know, I just really love her books, and I've only read 4 of her books. Didn't even really like Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, but I really loved the Shades of Magic trilogy, obviously, as we know. I don't know, I just feel like I really love her writing, and just, again, the way that her brain works. Anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm probably like 60% of the way through. I am on page 209. I'm hoping to finish this book today. There's not really a reason as to why I shouldn't be able to finish it today, to be honest. I have some chores to do. Like, I want to clean up my bathroom and I kind of want to organize my room a little bit, so I'll probably listen to the audiobook while I do that, but I am thoroughly enjoying my time. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Arcane on Netflix. If you haven't watched Arcane, please go watch it if you like reading fantasy. Such a good fantasy anime. It is so good. Ever since I watched the show, anytime I'm reading like an urban fantasy or like a modern fantasy, I am picturing it in my head as Arcane. I don't know if that makes any sense, but for some reason, the animation style of Arcane just stuck with me for specifically a lot of V.E. Schwab's book. Where I was reading A Darker Shade of Magic, I was envisioning like the Arcane world and the Arcane like animation, I guess. Also with some of Mistborn, I was even thinking of Arcane. I don't know why, but it has just stuck with me. If you have watched Arcane, for some reason, this is reminding me actually of the plot of Arcane, just like a little bit. Really following some very similar themes as Arcane, and I am absolutely loving it. Two main characters, Victor and Eli, are reminding me a lot of Jace and Victor. His name is literally Victor. Eli as Victor from Arcane, and I am picturing Victor in this as a blonde white version of Jace. Their characters are following very, very similar stories. Anyways, I'm gonna continue reading. Absolutely love when we get the point of view of the bad guy. There's just something about it that I absolutely love. Did in fact finish Vicious. I actually listened to it while I was fluffing out our tree that we just got. We just got a new fake tree because the last one we had was 6 years old, 7 years old, and it was just time to go. All of the lights were dead and it was just a mess. So we got another fake tree. The remainder of the audiobook, it took me like 40 minutes to fluff out this freaking tree, okay? I did in fact finish the audiobook while I was doing that. Adrenaline that I felt while I was listening to this audiobook, okay? I was stressed out. Did expect everything to happen. It's not like I was like super shocked, but I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time. So with that being said, I did enjoy this book. I just didn't really feel a connection to it. Like I enjoyed my time with it, but I don't know if I'm gonna think about it too much now that I'm done with it. I think that I will continue the series. It's just gonna be a trilogy, and I do love V.E. Schwab, as I've talked about, so I feel like I will continue the series, but I definitely did not like this as much as A Darker Shade of Magic. I just don't feel as connected to the characters at all, but the storyline of this is super, super interesting. That being said, I think I'm gonna rate this like a 3.5, I feel, because I did really enjoy this. I just didn't really feel a connection to the characters. Like I 100% recommend it. It was a super, super fun read. I just, again, don't know if I will be thinking about it too much afterward. I decided to re-pick up the audiobook of the Thursday Murders Club. You know the audiobook I'm talking about. I tried listening to that because I was not done with the tree just yet whenever I finished that one. Just could not get into it for the life of me. I've been doing an amazing job with reading really, really good books and getting out of my reading slump, and I just don't really care to fall back into my reading slump, and I just don't really care to read books that I don't necessarily care about. I think I'm DNFing the Thursday Murder Club whatever audiobook. I think I'm 2 hours in. I'll see you guys once I am winding down and ready to read, and I might even make a hot chocolate. A hot chocolate sounds really, really good. So I have my hot chocolate, and it is now time to read Mate. I've decided that that is the book that I want to pick up right now. It's 9:30. I locked in for a little too long with editing, so now I have not that much time to read because I feel like it's gonna be an early night tonight. It's been an early night every night, okay? But let's see where I am with Mate. Your girl's not too far into it. I was literally in the middle of a chapter, page 53. And I have absolutely zero thoughts about this book right now. Obviously 53 pages in, and I started this book nearly a month ago. Oh my god, I started this book exactly a month ago. Oh my god, I left for my trip a month ago. What the hell? Anyways, I literally started this a month ago, so I have zero thoughts because it's been so long. I remember everything. I didn't forget anything. I just have zero attachment to this book right now. I would like to lock in for like an hour, let's say. I'd like to get like 100 pages in. I'd really love Bride, which is the first book to this like interconnected thing. I think it might just be these two books. Mate is about the FMC and bride, her best friend. I believe her best friend or her sister. She is half were and her mate is the alpha to a werewolf pack. So I just know I'm gonna really love this and I'm very much in the mood for this right now. I think I'm going to throw Twilight on, specifically New Moon, because that's the one that Jacob is featured in the most. Where the freak is my remote? It's also the one that I rewatch literally 24/7. I rewatch New Moon almost every single night. It's my current fixation that I fall asleep to. So I've been falling asleep to New Moon for probably a month now. I'm gonna put on my werewolf movie while I read a werewolf book. And I'm about to have the time of my life. Oh my god, and drink my hot chocolate. Hi guys, it is now the next day. It is now Thursday and I'm about to leave because my mom and I are gonna go visit my grandma, but I wanted to do a quick update. I am currently on chapter 10 of Mate, but I'm currently like 25% of the way through. That's where I'm at for now. We shall see how much more I can get done. I love this man, okay? I'm listening to the audiobook currently because I ran out of audiobook hours on Spotify when I was in the car yesterday because I was making a thumbnail while listening to the audiobook. I was gonna read in the car, but I was like, might as well do some YouTube stuff while I'm in the car for an hour and a half. I was listening to the audiobook and I ran out of hours. That is the worst thing that a girl can hear. But while I was at my grandma's, I got this notification and I've been listening to the audiobook pretty much this entire morning. I'm now 51% of the way through. I have 7 hours left. I honestly was feeling a little meh about the book. Like, I just didn't really care. And you know, you don't want to feel that way whenever you're reading a book. First like 40% was honestly kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't very intrigued in anything that was happening. Like, I like our two main characters, but we just haven't gotten that much of Cohen. Don't get me wrong, the stuff that we've gotten of Cohen, I am eating up, okay? But they just haven't had a lot of interactions up until like, let's say 45%. But now the tides have kind of turned and there's an issue with Serena that is now the absolute main focus and Cohen just found out about it. And so now I feel like we're about to switch into gear. Also, there's like this werewolf cult that I think is about to get very, very involved. I don't know, now I'm actually intrigued in the plot line. We hit that 50% mark, which literally 51%, okay? Once we hit around the 50% mark, something switched, the tides turned a little bit and it just clicked in my brain for some reason, and now I am like thoroughly enjoying this book. I'm gonna continue listening. I'm kind of doing a bunch of like chores and housekeeping, I guess you could say. I'm cleaning up my room, doing my sheets and everything, so I'm just kind of zoned in. I'm locked in. I also have some YouTube stuff to prep for, so I'll probably just be listening to the audiobook for the remainder of today. I don't know. I beg your finest pardon? She's going through heat. I'm literally just picturing like those videos that you see of like dogs and cats in heat. It's like kind of cringing me out listening to the audiobook. I feel like the audiobook is not really doing this book justice. I literally do not have time to sit down and read right now. So audiobook, the only option, but that part is kind of cringing me out just a little bit. This girl's been in heat for the last like 50 pages. And it's not stopping anytime soon. It's not. Again? If I hear glands and heat one more time, glands specifically, Hi guys, so as you guys saw, I did in fact finish Mate. A little disappointed with myself for not liking the book as much as I was expecting because I really loved Bride. I think that I just read it at the wrong time, if I'm being totally honest, because I do think that it's better than Bride objectively, but I just did not have as good of a time reading this as I did Bride. Did really enjoy the plot. I enjoyed the second half of the book a lot, and I enjoyed the politics, and I liked the cult aspect of it. That was so interesting. I loved it. I would love for Ali Hazelwood to dabble a bit more into this realm. Anyways, that is the last book of today's reading vlog because I do unfortunately have to start other reading vlogs for Bookmas so I can get as many reading vlogs as possible out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed today's Bookmas video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another day of Bookmas. Bye.